The most vulnerable you will ever be with another person is not when you tell them your secrets. It's not when you cry in front of them or show them your fears or let them see the parts of you that you usually hide. It's when you are physically close to them, completely open, completely present, with nowhere left to hide. And in that moment, that exact unrepeatable moment, a man reveals more about how he truly feels about you than in any conversation you will ever have. Because he can't perform it. Not really. Not at that depth. The warmth is either there or it isn't. The connection is either present or it's an absence dressed up in physical proximity. Most people never realize that intimacy, real intimacy, the kind that goes beyond the physical, has a very specific emotional signature. And once you learn to recognize it, you will never again confuse a man who is physically attracted to you with a man who is genuinely, deeply, emotionally present with you. They are not the same thing. They never were. And knowing the difference will change everything. If you've ever found yourself in a moment of closeness and felt beneath the warmth of it, a quiet uncertainty, is this real or is this just desire? This video is for you. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what emotional presence looks like during intimacy. You will be able to feel it clearly when it's there and name it clearly when it isn't. And that clarity will give you something no amount of second guessing ever could. The truth. Let me talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. There is a particular kind of loneliness that lives inside physical closeness with someone who isn't truly present with you. It's one of the strangest forms of loneliness there is, because from the outside, and even from the inside for a moment, it can look and feel like connection. The warmth is real. The attraction is real. And yet, somewhere underneath it, there is a hollow quality. A sense that something essential is missing. That you are with someone and somehow still alone. You've been trying so hard to read this correctly. You've been examining conversations and texts and the way he looks at you across a room. You've been doing all of this emotional archaeology, trying to find the answer to the question that won't leave you alone. Does he actually feel something for me? Or am I the only one who feels this deeply? Here's what nobody tells you. That question rarely gets answered in the conversations. It rarely gets answered in the grand gestures or the morning texts or the way he introduces you to his friends, though all of those things matter. It gets answered in the quiet, unguarded, private moments. The moments when there is nothing left to say and nothing left to perform. The moments when you are just two people completely present to each other, and the truth of how he feels either rises to the surface or it doesn't. The mistake so many women make, and I say this with genuine compassion because the culture has taught you to make it, is assuming that physical desire and emotional investment are the same thing. That a man who wants you physically must also be connected to you emotionally. That the intimacy itself is the evidence of deeper feeling. It isn't, not automatically. Physical desire is one thing, emotional presence is entirely another. And the two can coexist beautifully, or they can exist in complete isolation from each other. What I'm going to share with you today are 5 specific emotional behaviors, 5 unmistakable signals that appear during intimacy when a man is not just physically present with you, but emotionally invested, connected, there in the full, real, layered sense of the word. These are not things he can fake consistently. These are not things a man does when he is simply going through the motions of closeness. These are the things that happen when a man's emotional self has arrived in the room, alongside his physical self. When he is not just with a woman, he is with you. Let's go through them. I want to start here because this one is often misread. It can look from the outside like patience, like restraint, but it's neither of those things, at least not in the way we usually mean them. When a man slows down during intimacy, when he deliberately, consciously pulls back from the momentum of the moment to simply be present with you, he is doing something that requires him to override one of the most powerful physical drives there is. And the only thing that overrides that drive is emotional investment. The only reason a man slows down in that specific way is because something about you, the reality of you, the presence of you, has pulled him out of the urgency of desire and into something quieter and more significant. He is not slowing down because someone told him to. He is slowing down because in that moment, the experience of being close to you has become more important than the destination. He wants to be in this, not rushing through it toward a finish line, but actually inhabiting the space of closeness with you, actually feeling it. And you cannot feel something if you're moving too fast to experience it. This is the behavior of a man who understands that what is happening between you is not just physical. It is relational. It is significant. And significant things deserve time, attention, and full presence, not the hurried, efficient pace of someone who is only here for one thing. You're in a moment together, close, warm, charged, and he pauses. He doesn't move faster. He doesn't push the pace. He slows everything down. He looks at you. Maybe he traces your face with his eyes the way someone looks at something they don't want to forget. Maybe he says nothing, but the silence has a particular quality, a stillness that is unmistakably intentional. He is not waiting for the moment to pass. He is choosing to stay inside it, and you feel it. You feel the difference between being desired and being savored, because they are not the same. Being desired is being seen as something someone wants. Being savored is being seen as something someone doesn't want to rush past, as something worth lingering in. That is not just physical attraction. That is a man experiencing you, the full, present, real experience of you, as something he doesn't want to be anywhere but inside. A man who slows down when every instinct tells him to move faster has found something in you that is more compelling than his own desire. But here's where it gets interesting. This one will sound simple. It is not simple. It is one of the most exposing things a human being can do in an intimate moment. And it is the thing most avoided by men who are not truly emotionally present. Eye contact during intimacy is extraordinarily vulnerable because it means you cannot disappear into sensation. It means you cannot be anonymous. It means you are seen fully, completely, without distance by the person in front of you. And it means they are seen too. A man who avoids your eyes during intimacy is a man who is managing his emotional distance, who needs to stay in the physical realm because the emotional realm is too exposing. He can be there with his body and remain safely absent with everything else. And some men do this unconsciously. It's not malicious, it's protective. But it tells you something important. There is a door he hasn't opened for you yet. The man who holds your gaze, who seeks it out, who finds your eyes and stays there, that man has opened the door. He is not hiding. He is not managing distance. He is choosing in the most unguarded moment possible to be completely present with you, to let you see him, to see you, to make what is happening between you something that exists in two registers simultaneously, physical and emotional at the same time. That level of presence requires trust. It requires a willingness to be known. And it happens naturally, almost inevitably, when a man is not just physically attracted to you, but genuinely, emotionally moved by you. You're close together, close enough that the world outside the room doesn't exist. And his eyes find yours, not briefly, not a glance that slides away the moment it arrives, but a real, held, unguarded look. Like he's reading something in your face that he wants to understand. Like looking away would be a loss. And you hold it too. And in that held gaze, in that specific, irreducible, deeply human moment, something happens that no physical closeness alone can create. You feel known. And he feels it too. That is not the look of a man who is only here for the physical experience. That is the look of a man who is experiencing you, the whole of you, and finding that the whole of you is exactly where he wants to be. A man who holds your gaze during intimacy is a man who has decided that being known by you is not something to run from. It's something to stay inside. Now, this next one is the one that most women have experienced and never had language for until today. I want you to hear this one carefully. In a moment of genuine physical closeness, a man can be with a woman, or he can be with you. And the difference between those two experiences, the difference between being with a woman and being with you, specifically, irreplaceably you, is often announced in the smallest possible way. He says your name, not functionally, not as communication. He says it because it's yours. Because in that moment, the particularity of you, the specific and unrepeatable reality of who you are, has broken through the general experience of closeness and become the whole point of it. Think about that for a second. Your name is the sound that means you. Only you. It is the word that has been spoken at every significant moment of your life. When you were loved, when you were called for, when you were seen across a room by someone who was glad to find you there. Your name carries you in it. And when a man says it in a moment of closeness, not because he needed to get your attention, not as a sentence, but simply because it came out of him, he is doing something that is almost impossible to fake. He is acknowledging you, not the experience, not the closeness, you, by name. He is making you specific in a moment when it would be easy and common to let you be general, to be present in body while remaining absent in particularity. And here's the depth of it. Saying your name in that moment requires a specific kind of awareness. It requires that part of him be watching, be attending to the fact that it is you he is with. Not someone, you. And that attending, that awareness of your specificity is the precise definition of emotional presence. You're there together in the warmth and closeness of each other. And in the middle of it, quietly, without context or preamble, he says your name. Just your name. And the way he says it is different from every other time he's said it. Softer, more private, like it means something extra tonight. Like saying it is a way of reaching for the whole of you. Not just the you that's physically present, but every version of you he has come to know and feel and want to keep knowing. And something in you responds to that on a level beneath language. Because your name, in his voice, in that moment, in that specific tone, it doesn't just tell you that he knows you're there, it tells you that he's glad you're there. That out of everyone, it's your name he wanted to say in the most private moment he has. That is not physical desire. That is emotional belonging. That is a man who, in the one moment where he had the least reason to think about anything beyond his own experience, thought about you, said you, chose you by name. When a man says your name during intimacy, he is not just present in the room, he is present with you. And he needed you to know that he knows the difference. And if that reached somewhere deep, this next signal is going to show you exactly what emotional safety looks like in its most private form. There is a particular quality of attentiveness that only exists in a man who has genuinely, fundamentally shifted his orientation from his own experience to yours. It's the quality of someone who is paying attention not just to the moment, but to you inside the moment. Watching, noticing, adjusting. He checks in without being asked. Not once as a formality, not at the beginning to tick a box, but throughout. In small, natural, unhurried ways. A question whispered, "Is this okay?" A pause where he watches your face to read whether what he sees there is pure comfort. A moment where he stops everything because something in your energy has shifted slightly and he noticed before you said a word. This level of attentiveness is the direct expression of emotional investment, because you cannot pay that quality of attention to someone you don't genuinely care about. You cannot sustain that awareness, noticing the small shifts, the micro expressions, the changes in breath or tension or ease, unless the person you're with is truly, centrally important to your experience. Unless their comfort is not a side concern, but the primary thing. This is what distinguishes a man who is emotionally invested from a man who is only physically present. The physically present man experiences the encounter. The emotionally invested man experiences you experiencing the encounter. His awareness has a second dimension, one that is entirely focused on you. And here's what that does for a woman receiving that level of attention. It allows her to be fully present, because she is not alone in monitoring her own experience. someone else is watching over it too. Someone else is making sure it stays good. She can let go of the management of herself because there is someone else in the room who has made her well-being his responsibility. That is intimacy as it was always meant to be. Not one person's experience happening in the presence of another, but two people genuinely, actively attending to each other. You're together, and something shifts slightly in you. Maybe you tensed just a little at something. Maybe you tensed just a little at something. Maybe you went a little quiet. It was small, you wouldn't have mentioned it. That he stops. He looks at you. He asks gently and without drama, "You all right? Do you want to slow down?" And the question itself, the fact of it being asked at all, is the signal. Because he wasn't focused on the destination, he was focused on you. And he noticed something in you before you had words for it yourself. And in that noticing, that gentle asking, that willingness to stop everything for the sake of one quiet moment with you, you feel something that physical closeness alone cannot create. You feel held, not physically, emotionally, by someone whose attention didn't wander even when it would have been so easy, so human for it to. A man who checks in without being asked is a man whose central concern in that room is not his own experience. It's yours. We're almost there, and this final sign is the one that will reframe everything you thought you knew about emotional connection. I want to end here because this is where the truth settles. Not in the heat of the moment, but in the quiet that follows it. There is a specific quality in the way a man holds you after intimacy when he is genuinely emotionally connected to you. It's different from obligatory closeness. It's different from the physical warmth of two bodies still near each other by default. It has an intention to it, a quality of not wanting to release something that was real. He doesn't turn away quickly. He doesn't immediately shift into logistics, the phone check, the practical reorientation toward the rest of the evening. He stays. And in staying, he holds you in a specific way. Close, unhurried, with a warmth that is no longer about desire, but about something quieter and more durable. Something that feels, if you let yourself name it, remarkably like peace. This holding, this particular intentional, there's nowhere else I'd rather be holding, is the physical expression of emotional aftermath. It says, what just happened between us was not just physical. It was something. And I'm not ready to close the door on it yet. I want to stay inside it for a little longer. A man who is only physically engaged doesn't experience the aftermath that way. For him, the intensity belonged to the moment and leaves with it. What follows is pleasant, perhaps, but light, easy to move away from. But the man who is emotionally present experiences the aftermath as its own kind of intimacy. The quiet after is not a void. It is a continuation, a softer, warmer register of the same connection. And he wraps himself around it, around you, because leaving it too quickly would feel like a loss. And he's not ready for that loss. The evening has settled into its quieter place. You're lying together, and the quality of the room has shifted. Less charged, warmer, softer. And instead of the subtle signal that the significant part is over and the practical part is beginning, you feel his arms pull you closer. Not passionately, just firmly, warmly, with a quiet resolve that says, I'm not ready for this to end. His breathing slows. He says nothing for a while. Maybe he presses his lips to your hair. Maybe he simply holds the position, your head on his chest, his arm around your back, like it's a place he's decided to stay for as long as you'll have him. And in that stillness, you feel something settle in you that the entire evening has been building toward. Not the warmth of attraction, not the excitement of closeness. Something deeper and more lasting than both of those things. You feel chosen. Not for the night, for the quiet that comes after. For the part that isn't exciting or charged or full of momentum. For the ordinary, unadorned, genuinely beautiful part, where two people simply exist together and find that existing together is in itself enough. That is a man who is not just physical with you. That is a man who is present with you in every sense of the word. And there is no higher form of intimacy than that. A man who holds you in the quiet after isn't just staying for comfort. He's staying because being close to you, even in the silence, is somewhere he genuinely wants to be. Let me ask you something before we close. As you've listened to these 5 signals today, the slowing down, the held gaze, the name said quietly in the dark, the checking in, the holding that doesn't want to end, have you felt something clarify? Has something shifted in you? Maybe you've recognized these signs in someone and felt a warmth settle into your chest. The warmth of knowing that what you thought you were feeling was real, was mutual, was being expressed in ways you now have language for. Or maybe you've recognized their absence, and maybe that recognition is sitting somewhere a little heavier. I want to speak to both of you. To the woman who has found these signs in her relationship, trust what you're experiencing. The emotional presence you feel is not your imagination. It is real. It is being given to you genuinely by a man who knows, even if he hasn't yet said it in words, that what exists between you is not just physical. Receive that. Let it mean what it means. And to the woman who has recognized the absence, you are not wrong for wanting this. You are not asking for too much. You are not projecting or idealizing or building something out of nothing. You simply have not yet been with a man whose emotional self arrived in the room alongside his physical self. That is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of his readiness. And you deserve readiness. Here's what I need you to carry with you after today. Physical attraction is common. It is everywhere. The world is full of men who will find you beautiful, who will want to be close to you, who will be drawn toward you with every physical instinct they have. What is not common, what is rare and precious and worth everything, is a man who brings his emotional self into that physical space, who slows down because he wants to be present, not just proximate, who holds your gaze because being seen by you feels like something worth having. Who says your name because you are not just a woman to him. You are you, specific and irreplaceable and real. Who checks in without being asked because your experience is the one he is most invested in protecting. Who holds you afterward because the moment you shared was not just a moment to him. It was a place, and he doesn't want to leave it. That man is not a romantic fantasy. He exists. And you will know him not by what he says he feels, but by the unmistakable, unperformable reality of how he is with you when words have run out and all that's left is the truth of his presence. You have spent too long trying to read signals in the easy moments, the texts, the dates, the public-facing version of a man presenting himself as someone worth knowing. Those things matter, but the deepest truth lives in the private moments, in the closeness that has no audience, in the space where performance is impossible and only genuine feeling survives. You know what to look for now. You know what emotional presence sounds like, feels like, looks like in its most honest form. And you deeply, clearly know that you deserve nothing less. Stop settling for physical proximity dressed up as emotional connection. Stop explaining away the absence of these signs with stories about how some men just express themselves differently, how some men need time, how you're probably reading too much into it. You are not reading too much into it. You are finally reading it correctly. This is your moment. Don't waste it. If this video gave you something real today, if it named something you've been feeling but couldn't find the words for, then subscribe right now, because this is what we come back and do every week. And for your next watch, I want you to go to 6 powerful questions a man asks before sex when he genuinely cares about you. Because now that you understand what emotional presence looks like during intimacy, that video will show you exactly what it looks like before, and why the questions a man asks in those moments are among the most honest things he will ever say to you. I'll see you there.